Madam Chair, you are now live.
Good evening, members of committee and members of the public. I will now call the Property Standards Committee to order. As this meeting is being held virtually, I will go over some of the rules of procedure for the benefit of members and for the viewing public. All members remain muted when not speaking in order for the meeting to reduce feedback. All web cameras for committee members shall be turned on. Staff will be requested to join the video meeting should the need to answer questions arise. Any member of the committee should indicate they wish to speak by physically raising their hand. Movers and seconders of motions shall be indicated by physically raising their hand on camera, and the chair will call out who the mover and seconder are. All members of the committee participating via online video conference will vote by a physical show of hands. The chair will indicate to leave your hands raised until they have determined the result of the vote. In the event of a connection or service interruption that affects quorum of the committee, we may recess the meeting for up to 15 minutes to regain quorum. If quorum is not achieved, the meeting will be adjourned. Appellants, agents, owners, and delegations are participating via Zoom or telephone accordingly. All persons wishing to speak to the items on the agenda were required to register by 9 a.m. Any delegations received in written format have been provided to the members of the committee and will form part of the meeting record. The clerk has taken the roll. I would now like to take this opportunity to welcome Jill Binkley, the new manager of Property Standards and Bylaws. Mrs. Binkley, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sorry about that. I was having connectivity issues. Not a good start. Thank you, Brenda, and good evening. The Ontario Building Code Act provides municipalities with the authority to establish a property standards bylaw and require properties to conform to the standards set out in that bylaw. The City of Brantford's property standards bylaw includes an option where property owners can appeal to this committee after a property standards order has been issued. And speaking to the reports tonight will be Officer Jessica Curley and Officer Patrick Erskine. Thank you.
Thank you. Members of the committee, do any of you have any declarations of conflicts of pecuniary interest to make on any of the items before the committee this evening? Seeing none. There are no presentations or registered delegates for the meeting. This is a regular meeting of the Property Standards Committee. Members of the committee will hear property standards appeals, then must render decisions on the orders issued. The committee has the authority to confirm, rescind, extend, amend, and/or modify a property standards order. As the hearing is open to the public, please note that the names of persons participating in the hearing will be recorded in the minutes, which is a public record. Our first hearing is for Property Standards Order 12-21 for 49 Alfred Street, Brantford, and I will call upon staff to provide us with details of the report.
Sorry, it wasn't letting me unmute there for a second. I kept pressing it and then it wouldn't do it. Hello, everyone. My name is Jess Curley. So I'm going to go with a background on the case. So to the committee, in this particular case on February 3rd, 2021, during an inspection at the property of 49 Alfred Street, Brantford, I was there for an animal control file, and I noted that the building was tenant occupied and most of the windows were boarded. I then sent a letter to the property on March 5th, 2021. The property owner's son, Dave Richardson, reached out to me and explained that he has tenants that have been breaking some of the windows and that he is in the process of evicting them. I explained that the repairs will still need to be completed if the tenants are still in the house. On March 23rd, 2021, the windows had still not been repaired. Was the decision of the bylaw division to move forward with the issuance of the application of the property standards order. A request was then made to the city's legal department to confirm ownership Information was returned on March 24th, 2021 that showed the subject property of 49 Alfred Street to be owned by Clifford Richardson of 34 Redwood Road. Accordingly, the Property Standards Order 1221 was issued April 27th, 2021, requiring repairs. A notice of appeal was then received by the Building Department on May 15th, 2021 from a registered owner. The applicant is requesting additional time to complete required repairs. At the time of writing, the property remains non-compliance with both of the issued property standards orders and the property standards bylaw. I did attend a few hours ago and the boards are still up.
Okay, thank you. Do any members of the committee have questions for staff at this time? Mrs. Capoli?
Hi, through you, Chair Jessica. Has any research been done into whether there's any heritage significance to the property at all? Like, is there, it looks like an older home in that area. Is it on the list?
The committee, no, I haven't done any research on that, nor in the previous files did I see anything that that said that it would give me any intuition that it was a heritage home. But no, I didn't look at any kind of list to look at that.
Okay. So just to further that, can we have that looked at? There may be like a potential to, there are grants available to help with windows and to have something properly done with some of the structure that's around there.
I'm not familiar with that, but that is something that I could look into further.
Can you guys see me or
Oh,
hear me?
I was actually just told by the another bylaw officer that previously had that file that it's not.
Because we were sent a letter. Hello?
Sorry, Mr. Richardson, you'll be able to speak after when you're called upon.
Are there any further questions for staff at this time? No. I will now call upon the appellant to address the committee. Mr. Richardson.
Unmute, start my video. Okay, there we go.
Good evening, sir. Could I have you please first state your name and address for the record?
Yes, I am David Richardson. I am at 7 Victoria Street, apartment 4, Brantford, Ontario, and 3S3J6. I'm the building next door to the 49 Alfred Street, 1 Victoria.
Okay, and what is it that you're asking the committee for this evening, sir?
So yes, we did receive a letter in the mail saying that it was a heritage house. That's why you can't, I don't know all the rulings on what you can adjust to the building without getting your approval. Like you can't do major changes to the house since it's been established as a heritage house. About a year ago, my dad did get a letter. So I don't know why you're not saying you don't have record of it now, but so I don't know if you read my notice of appeal, but at one time, your board, the member was Hannah Saunders Knob. She, we had a conversation and she told me that I was allowed to board up vacant windows in the house. And so some of the windows, there is a unit downstairs that is vacant, and one upstairs that's vacant, but the one downstairs got boarded up due to what Honda Saunders Knobs told me. So that's why some of the windows got boarded up for that reason. And then yes, there's 9 windows broken in the house due to the tenants I'm evicting upstairs. They were supposed to be out today, but she's saying she can't find a place, and now I have to proceed further to have a hearing with the landlord and tenant board of Hamilton and get the letter to evict and then follow through with the sheriff. So being at a heritage house, I took apart the windows myself since me and my brother are working, doing all the labor on the house. and that big pane window in the front just fell apart. So nobody in town does that kind of work. It has to be a brand new restructured window made out of the heritage wood. So I have to go to Sebring, Ontario, which is about an hour's way up Highway 8. They're the only ones that have a mill shop to complete that window. And there's another window where the wood got broke out as well. So they said they have all the wood there. So I recently took out the window this past week and it fell apart on us. So I got to get that over to the shop and they have to work on it. So I'm looking for a bit more time because of the wood damage, and then it has to be put back in the house. The rest of them, there's going to be some boarding up of windows in the doors, and then I need some extended time. Once I get it out of the wood shop, then I have to go to the glass shop to get that big picture window back into the house. Because it's a beautiful maple living room in there. It was the original library. Like that's the estate home, the original house on the hill in Brantford. A doctor owned it. My dad bought it off him, and I'm speaking on his behalf because as Alzheimer's disease 2 years in, so that's why he's not here today to speak for himself. So I'm looking for extended time. It will get done. I'm not contesting. I didn't have cameras on the house before until a month ago. So the tenant in the house downstairs, they've been picking on him. They broke and enter into his building, and he's scared to death of them. That's why he wants the windows boarded up. So hopefully I can get the tenants evicted out, and the camera should help catch them if they do it again. So I don't have a problem taking the wood off the windows, but I'd like to do it all at once in case they start breaking them again because they're rebelling, right? So the tenant upstairs. Let's see, is there anything else to say?
Can you give us, can you provide the
then
committee
myself-
with a time frame as far as how long an extension you're asking for?
It shouldn't take any more than a month. Should have it earlier done than that, I hope. Just depending
Okay.
on getting it over there and back, right? Because I was off sick myself, I had a right rotator cuff sore, and I couldn't do anything extracurricular outside to do these windows, to take them out. Me and my brother had to take it out, but and they were tight for all them years, like Fort Knox. But anyways, painted in. So yeah, I just got back to work myself at Toyota Woodstock. So.
Okay. Do any members of the committee have questions for the appellant at this time? Mrs. Capoli?
Hi, through you, Chair. Thanks for coming, Mr. Richardson. Have you been up to the building department or received any quotes for any of those replacement windows? Have you received any instruction on what should go in there? How far have you come on the process of that?
I've contacted I haven't gone to you're saying come up to your office and get permits or something, or estimates?
Yeah, you said you were aware that you had received a heritage letter, so the instructions are that you need to go up to building department to confer with somebody on what.
Oh yeah. I need to do that. Yeah, I need to get a thing of that. So what I was doing was just gonna not put new windows in, but try and match up with the wood. That's why I would have to go to the outside source in Guelph. They have wood out there to match that up and put it back in and keep the house looking like it was.
Mrs. Capoli?
So have you received a quote for that yet?
No, I don't have a quote for it. No. I talked to the gentleman on thing. He said, come on down this Saturday. So.
Mr. Smith? You're on mute, Mr. Smith.
Okay.
Thank
Through you,
you.
Madam Chair, Mr. Richardson, the timelines with the tenant landlord board could be very lengthy, and if it does come up, if they use another out there with the sheriffs, what kind of timeline are you looking at for eviction? Because obviously I don't think you're gonna do it before then.
I'm not sure what with the COVID and everything, as far as I can tell, you have a hearing. I put a rush on it, a letter to speed up the process. As far as I can tell, the gentleman I spoke to said it'd be a month before you get your hearing. And then I'm not sure how much extended time they'd give the actual tenant to be evicted. Would it be a month or 2 months? I'm not sure. And that, I don't know what they rule in their favor. I don't have the ruling on that. When you serve an N12, it was an N12 served. So I'm moving into the unit and they're supposed to be moving out today, but they did not move out. Said she can't find a place. So I don't know the time frame there.
Mr. Smith?
Madam Chair, through you again, Mr. Richardson, what kind of timeline are you considering? And how much time are you going to request so that we can make a decision to make it applicable to you as well as others?
So are you saying like with the video cameras on the house, like once I get them fixed, I know the tenant is not going to be happy, but I don't have a problem taking the plywood off with the cameras and everything on the house, right? Are you saying I should wait until the tenants move out? Is that what you're trying to include in the time frame?
No, I'm actually saying the opposite. I need to know for us a timeline that we can work with you.
Yep.
To make this happen. And you know, we can say, well, we want it done tomorrow, and it's not going to happen. How much time do you need?
I was saying a month.
A month
Shouldn't be
to
a
do
month.
everything?
Do everything in, yeah.
Okay.
The windows will be back in and then just remove all the plywood, so.
Are there any further questions for the appellant? Seeing none. I will now entertain a motion from the committee on how they wish to deal with this appeal. Mrs. Capoli?
I'm going to recommend that the appeal filed by Clifford Richardson, I guess, yeah, Dave Richardson acting as power of attorney, owner of 49 Alfred Street, Brantford, regarding the property standards order 12-21 be allowed and that the order be confirmed and upheld, but that we allow an extension of time of 60 days. I don't think 1 month is going to do it, and so that would put us at end of June, end of July, end of August. What is it? What's August 30th? Is there a date in there? Sorry, I don't have my calendar in front of me. August 31st. We'll take that one. Extension granted to August 31st.
Do we have a seconder?
I second it.
Any discussion required on the motion? I will have the clerk call the vote.
All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried.
Okay, Mr. Richardson, the committee's decision has been made on your appeal. You have been given an extension for the repairs until August 31st, 2021. You will receive official notification of the decision from the building department. And if you wish to appeal our decision, you may do so to the Superior Court, and instructions will be provided with the notification you receive from the building department. Because the committee did not quash the order, there is an additional administrative fee of $125 assessed to you. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you.
The next hearing is for Property Standards Order 11-21 for 8 Victoria Street, Brantford, and I will call upon staff to provide us with details of the report on this matter.
Good evening, Madam Chair. My name is Patrick Erskine, Property Standards Officer with the City of Brantford. The Property Standards Bylaw is primarily enforced on a reactive basis to complaints received by the Building Department. In this particular case, a complaint was received on February 5th, 2021 regarding property standards of deficiencies at 8 Victoria Street in Brantford. A preliminary inspection was conducted on February 10th, 2021 by Municipal Law Enforcement Property Standards Officer Patrick Erskine. Due to the provincial COVID-19 restrictions, no interior inspections were completed at this time. The preliminary inspection revealed deficiencies with the windows. The window screens were not properly installed in a manner accepted as good workmanship. Specifically, the window screens were stapled to the casing. Also, the tenant provided photo documentation of interior violation. The attic hatch was removed and replaced with cardboard. As it is standard practice, a preliminary letter dated February 23rd, 2021 was sent to the property owner detailing the requirements to properly install the screens and attic hatch in accordance with industry standards. A re-inspection conducted on March 15th, 2021 showed no change in the condition of the windows or attic hatch. At this time, interior inspections were permitted and a full interior inspection was completed, as well as the aforementioned deficiencies with attic hatch and window screens. Other deficiencies were observed. Specifically, the dining room, kitchen, and master bedroom windows are not weather tight, and the upstairs bathroom toilet is not flushing properly, and the soffit is damaged. It was the decision of the bylaw division to move forward with the issuance of an applicable property standards order. A request was then made to the city's legal department to confirm ownership. Information was returned March 22nd, 2021 that showed the subject property of 8 Victoria Street, Brantford to be owned by Corey Elliott Bennett and Jennifer Ann Bennett of 6 Bear Avenue in Brantford, Ontario. Accordingly, Property Standards Order 11-21 was issued April 1st, 2021, requiring repairs. Subsequently, a notice of appeal was received by the Building Department on April 15th, 2021 from the registered owner. At the time of writing, the property remains in non-compliance with both the issued Property Standards Order and the Property Standards Bylaw.
Thank you. Are there questions for staff at this time? Mrs. Capoli?
Sorry, Patrick, Chair, through you. Sorry, have any of the repairs been completed or attempted to be started?
Through the chair, at this time, no. I was told that the toilet was fixed. However, I'm not being able to go inside the unit and check myself. And then there was some work done on the soffit, but not proper workmanship. It was more some OSB plywood was put up there, so no.
So you don't know if in fact the toilet has been repaired then?
Madam Chair, that's correct. I'm not sure about the toilet situation.
Okay. Any other questions for staff at this time? No. I will call upon the appellant to address the committee. Mr. Bennett? Do we have the, oh, good evening, sir.
Good evening, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Could I please have you state your name and address for the record, please?
It's Corey Bennett, 6 Baird Ave in Brantford.
And what is it that you're asking the committee for this evening, sir?
Just an extension. I've served notice of eviction, and we have a hearing with the board at September 1st.
So how long of an extension are you asking the committee for?
At least past September.
So more than 60 days.
Correct.
Okay. Anything else you would like the committee to hear before they ask their questions?
Yes, so that we got the house about 4 years ago, and we put in almost 70,000 into it so far. We've replaced the toilet. We have a lot of raccoons getting into the attic because there's neighbors that are excessively feeding the wildlife. So now they're getting into the attic. So there is wood up there now where they were getting in. The windows, we did staple the screens on as a temporary fix because we were ordering all new windows. And we did order windows. We gave the tenants, so there's 3 apartments. The other 2 apartments have all new windows. We had a hard time getting someone out during COVID to measure the windows. And when we did, we gave the tenants in the apartment that has complained, she actually only got 22 hours notice that someone was going to measure the windows, and she refused entry. So we could not get the windows measured. And then when the windows were put in the other apartments, she called the city the same exact day.
And the screens, the bylaws.
Okay.
That twice.
Are there any
So-
questions? Sorry.
It's a nuisance tenant,
Okay.
and we've lost 2 tenants in the other apartments because of her.
Okay, questions for the appellant. Mr. Smith?
Yes, Madam, through you, Madam Chair. Mr. Bennett, what is going to be the outcome for timeline for that? And we can always have our bylaw officers in there to ask them to permit them in there to measure the windows, and so that they can't prevent, well, they can prevent, but if you give them enough timeline, we can give you a little more leniency one way or the other.
There's several other issues with the tenant. I'd rather go through the board September 1st and have her evicted, and then deal with all the issues at that point.
My concern is still the varmints. The raccoons, the waste there is hazardous to the humans. So what steps have you taken other than just boarding it up? Have you had traps in there?
Yeah, we trapped about 6 raccoons so far. And now it's boarded up until I can get a contractor into, they're just pulling the flashing off, the raccoons. I don't know if you've dealt with raccoons
Yes.
before. They pull the flashing off so easy. So I have to get wood put under there and then the flashing back on top.
Well, I think that is probably the first and foremost thing right now. If you can't get into the unit. So,
That's not even it's a different unit that the tenant just left on unit 2. So I'm doing the repairs. I actually was over there today doing the repairs.
yeah, but the actual feces will work its way and the smell down in through the building. And that's my major concern.
Okay, well, there's no raccoons in there now. It's boarded up. There's a piece of wood, probably 2 feet by 2 feet in the corner that they were entering the attic. Is that a concern, having a piece of board there?
Well,
It just doesn't look nice?
we basically for everything, the aesthetics of the area, I mean, it does cause problems.
Well, the house is across the house from the previous case on Alfred Street there, so if you're comparing it to the neighborhood, it fits right in.
Are there any further questions for the appellant at this time?
I called twice on the screen and they told me to do that.
Okay, it's my understanding that the tenant of the property wishes to speak to the appeal as well. Is the tenant available? Hi, good evening. Could I please have you state your name and address for the record, please, ma'am?
Hi, my name is Sierra Hemmings. I live at 8 Victoria Street, apartment 3.
Okay, thank you. What are you?
So I have, through text message and emails, that I have been asking for my screens in my windows to be replaced since May 2020, at which point they did go to Lowe's, the landlords, and buy screens that kind of sat in the window, because you still had to close the window on it. And I have children in second-story bedrooms who I fear are going to fall out the window because they do not have screens. At which point my landlord said that she called the city, and in the email it states that the city told her to staple the windows and that the screens are not for safety, they are to stop bugs and animals from coming in. They've also now served me with an N7, which states that I damaged the screens. Well, there were never screens in the windows when I arrived. Only a couple of them had like a wood stapled around it. So and my air conditioner goes in one window, which is in the upper of my apartment, and so there's no way I have damaged the screens, and the accusations in the N7. Also, regarding the raccoon, so above my daughter's head where she sleeps, she cries and is constantly coming downstairs to my room because she can see the cardboard moving and she can hear the raccoons up there above her head, because there's just a thin piece of cardboard where the attic hatch should be. And I have proof through text messages and through emails that I've been asking for these for well over a year before I called the before I called the bylaw. And then, as I said, so once they got the letter April, they then, that's when they applied to evict me. And they also sent me letters stating that bylaw had said I needed to take down my trampoline and my pool and different things like that, and that I needed to move. So I've had access to the garage, and they said that I needed to move out of the garage because the bylaw said that the garage was not safe either. And none of that is stated from the bylaw, because you guys would have brought that to this meeting. So they have provided me with a lot of false accusations.
Okay.
And I have given more than enough time to fix everything. And then that was on February the 5th was when I said I was then going to contact bylaw. My toilet has been fixed. And yes, I did deny them access because they did not give me 24 hours notice, because on October the 5th, they were to access my apartment and they were to check the smoke detectors and change the furnace filters, at which point they put a lock on my furnace. So I now do require them 24 hours because I would like somebody here, because if someone is not here, I'm unaware of what they will do in my apartment when I cannot have somebody here, because they've done it previous, which I have proof of. So they've had, and as I said, like, it's May 20th that I have the text about the windows. May 20th, like May 2020.
Okay.
And so they've had more than, and the other thing was, so in November was when I think it was November that I told them, no, I needed 24 hours notice because I was unable to have somebody there because I also work. And the windows did not replace till February. I told them in the email that they had any time as long as they gave me 24 hours. So from November to February, when windows were replaced, they apparently could not get someone in to measure the windows. And I understand that, yes, they need to measure every individual window, but if you come by the place, all the windows are the exact same size. So that I feel that they were just doing it to be, yeah.
Okay. Any members of the committee have questions for Ms. Hemmings? Ms. Kaplan?
Through the chair, I don't have a question, but I do have a statement. And the statement is that I am well aware and have full knowledge that windows must be measured to fit.
Yeah.
It's not so they must measure each window.
Yeah. I understand.
I'm clarifying that statement. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Ms. Hemmings at this point? Okay, I will go back to Mr. Bennett. Do you have any final statements for the committee this evening, sir? Ms. Hemmings, thank you very much. Mr. Bennett?
We're just bringing him back into the room.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so she's made a lot of claims there. Most of them are untrue. I'm not going to get into all that. But I did give her notices because she had a pool there with not the proper fencing. It wasn't anything to do with bylaw officers. It was Brantford bylaws that I was stating to her, that Brantford bylaw requires certain fencing around the pool, and she didn't get permission. And she didn't get permission to use that amount of water as well, because the water is included in her rent. And as far as the screens, she has 4 children, and I have seen them push out the screen so they can climb on top of the pergola to jump on from the 2nd story, to jump on the trampoline or jump in the pool from a pergola that is about 9 feet in the air. So that's how these screens are getting damaged. Some other screens have been damaged because she wants to put air conditioners in, so they just push the screen out. And it did take 4 months to order the windows. We had them measured in November, and they were installed February 13th. Or the beginning of February. I'm not sure the exact date.
Okay, are there any sorry. Sorry, go ahead, Mr. Bennett. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, she has a lot of complaints, even with the heat. I guess her kids were turning the heat up really hot, and the heat controls all 3 apartments. So the other tenants were complaining to me that they have to open all their windows in the middle of winter because it's the heat was set at 25, 26 degrees Celsius when Brantford standard is 21. So I did go in. I noticed that it was set at 23 in October she's speaking of. I put it back down to 21. I put a lockbox on it, set it at 21, and left it. I guess she wasn't happy with that, and I don't know. I'm just following the rules.
Okay. Are there any other questions for the appellant at this point? Okay, I will call upon the committee.
Brenda?
Oh, sorry, Ms. Kaplan, go ahead.
Thank you, through the chair. Mr. Bennett, I'm not sure if I missed this or not, but can you clarify for me whether you made a second or a third attempt to provide the tenant with notice to measure the windows?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I'll follow that question up. Is there a reason why?
At the time, it was a budget issue. So I wasn't going to replace all the windows in the other 2 apartments, only the ones that, because like some of the windows are very huge and they're $2,000 each. So at the time, I was going to replace the more damaged ones until more funds came available. So at that time, when she didn't let me measure the windows, I decided just get all brand new ones in the other 2, and then down the line get the other windows.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions at all from anyone? Okay, could we now have a motion from the committee to deal with this order? Ms. Capoli?
Okay, so from the looks of it, item 2, according to the tenant at least, the toilet has been replaced, but I'm going to lump that in together with my recommendation that the appeal filed, having a tough one, by Corey Bennett of 8 Victoria Street, property standards order 1121, be granted. Actually, we confirmed and upheld, but the following extensions be granted. And for items 2 and 3, 30 days. I would like to have those soffits repaired sooner rather than later. But for item number 1, so items 2 and 3, 30 days. So July 30th. But for item 1, the windows, I grant or extension granted to October 15th. I believe if you are landlord tenant board hearing is before then. You have a couple of weeks to get stuff together.
We have a seconder. Mr. Smith, any discussion required on the motion? I will have the clerk call the vote.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, the item is carried.
Okay, Mr. Bennett, do you understand the timeframes that you've been given then?
Can you hear me?
I can.
I can, but there's no way I can get new windows in by
Okay,
October 15th.
well, the committee's decision has been made. On the appeal, the building department will send you official notification of that. If you wish to appeal our decision, you may do so to the Superior Court, and you will be given instructions for that as well from the building department. Because the committee did not quash the order, there is the additional administrative fee of $125. Thank you, sir. May I please have a mover and a seconder for the minutes of the March 18th, 2021 meeting? Moved by Ms. Catherine, second by Mrs. Capoli. Are there any errors or omissions to be noted? I will ask the clerk to call the vote.
Okay, all those voting in favor? Opposed? Okay, the item is carried.
Thank you. Seeing there are no resolutions or notices of motion, Mrs. Binkley, are there any updates you would like to provide the committee for on previous appeals?
Through the chair, none at this time.
Okay. Currently, we do have an appeal that's been received, so the committee will be canvassed via email in the coming days for a future meeting date. Having concluded the business of the committee, this meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you, everyone.